Welcome back, sports fans. It's time to wrap up Season 2 of our WAFL Relocation franchise. So instead of going week by week, we're going to cram an entire season into one video, crown another champion, and even peek into the future to see what the league looks like after 10 more years. Let's dive in. After the first 6 weeks, it is the Monarchs who stand alone undefeated, but teams like the Redwoods, Caps, and Shamrocks are close behind and all early contenders to make a playoff run. Now advancing to the halfway point of the season, the Monarchs stay undefeated and advance to 7-0. Our passing leaders at the midseason mark are the Huskies, Justin Herbert, number 1, the Shamrocks, CJ Stroud, number 2, and even the rookie Steve Weiss is in the top 3 at the moment for the Golden Eagles. Justin Herbert's even the early favorite in the MVP race. He's got the most yards and only second in touchdowns to Patrick Mahomes. The halfway leading rusher is the Sentinels' Tony Pollard with over 670 yards and 5 touchdowns, but the big Redwood himself, Derrick Henry, is racking up the touchdowns with 7 so far, averaging 1 touchdown a game. Right now, the Aviators' Jamar Chase has the most receiving yards, but it's the Huskies' number 1 target, Devonta Smith, with the league-leading 7 touchdowns at wideout. And on defense, who do you expect? Of course, the Riverhogs' Aaron Donald has the most sacks this season. He always does on this game with 13.5 just halfway through the year. And in interceptions, 4 is the leading number by the Mounties' Micah Hyde, but it's a long season. We'll see if these players are still at the top when it's all said and done. But now we advance to week 12, where we finally unlock our playoff picture, showing us the teams to be in the WAFL. They are the Redwoods in the AFC, the Monarchs in the NFC, and the last teams in on each side as well, the Snowhawks and the Black Knights. Let's take a look at the standings to see just how close this playoff race is. Oof, the AFC North is a tight race with the Riverhogs riding a 2-game winning streak into the divisional lead, but in the AFC South, the Dreadnoughts seem to have things in control at 7-4. In the AFC East, the Caps have a slim lead over the Steamers, and then in the West, the Redwoods, losers of 2 straight, are hanging on to the lead, but watch out for the comeback Condors. They've won 4 games in a row. Now up to the NFC North, it's a tight race with the Mounties, Huskies, and Lumberjacks who just kept chopping all in the mix, with the Mounties lead at 6-4. Then it's the Desperados who look poised to win the NFC South for a 2nd straight season, and currently they're on a 7-game winning streak. And then the NFC East is looking very different after just a few short weeks. The Dragons and Shamrocks dominated the early weeks, but at this point, it's anyone's game. And lastly, there's the NFC West, and watch out, we've hit double digits on the Monarchs quest for an undefeated season. So here's our official playoff picture at week number 12. Now let's compare that to what it will look like in week 18, the final week of the regular season. Some new teams just jumped into the playoff mix, like the Antlers in the AFC and the Shamrocks and Wizards on the NFC side. There are a lot of big playoff seeding, deciding games in the final week, and a chance for the 16-0 Monarchs to pull off an undefeated season. All they have to do now is beat the 6-10 Tokyo Tigers. Definitely feasible. 4 teams have already clinched a playoff spot. It's the Monarchs, who have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and then the Redwoods, Caps, and Desperados, who all have their divisions wrapped up a week early. But it seems like the rest is up for grabs. The Antlers take on the Riverhogs for the AFC North. Dreadnoughts, they're tied with the Bisons in the AFC South. Steamers and Snowhawks, they're playing for a chance at a wildcard spot. Both records tied at 10-6. And then the Redwoods can solidify their number 1 seed with a win and earn that first round bye. In the NFC, the Mounties clinched a playoff spot, but a Huskies win can flip the divisional lead. The NFC South looks to be set with the Desperados going to get a home playoff game in the wildcard round, but the NFC East could go either way. The Dragons and Shamrocks are both in, but who's going to win that division? And of course, the Monarchs have ruled the NFC West all season long. Who could have expected this turnaround after missing the playoffs a year ago? They've definitely got to be the odds-on favorite to win the WAFL Bowl at this point, and a big reason why is their quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, as I like to say, has the MVP in the bag. It's not official yet, but he has 3,900 yards going into the final game with a 40-5 touchdown to interception ratio. These are old prime Aaron Rodgers type MVP numbers, but add to it 400 more yards on the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns. And of course, Monarchs coach Jonathan Gannon is in the lead for Coach of the Year as well, ahead of Josh McDaniels. Who would have expected that on the Redwoods, the other number 1 seed in the AFC. And so after another week's simulation, the Monarchs barely beat the Tigers. The Tigers gave gave them a game, but the Monarchs win 33-27. Lamar Jackson puts up 310 yards through the air. Jarvis Landry comes through with a big 100-yard receiving game for a perfect 17-0 season. So the Monarchs, they're all set. We know they're going to get the #1 seed and a bye in the first round, but what about the rest of the playoff picture? What does that look like? Well, in the AFC, the Oakland Redwoods take the top spot after missing the playoffs a year ago. They'll get the first round bye. Our 2 versus 7 matchup in the AFC will be the Columbus Caps, reigning champs, versus last season's #1 seed, the Sacramento Condors. Then the 3-6 matchup is the AFC South winning Oklahoma City Bisons taking on the Brooklyn Snowhawks. And finally, in the AFC wildcard round, the #4 Omaha Antlers. They won the AFC North and they play the #5 seed Virginia Beach Steamers in their first WAFL playoff appearance. Now over to the NFC, the Monarchs are undefeated, 17-0. They're #1. The 2-7 matchup, though, is the NFC South winning Desperados versus the Wizards in their first WAFL playoff appearance. Then in our 3-6 matchup, divisional foes must battle again a third time this season. The Mounties won the NFC North Division, but the Huskies were one of the top teams in the first half of the season. Should be a good game. And finally, we wrap up the NFC with the NFC East rematch. 4-seeded Dragons and the 5-seeded Shamrocks. Another good game to look forward to. All right, the games are set for an awesome WAFL wildcard round, but before we get into the playoffs, let's see how the rest of the league fared. In the AFC, it was the San Antonio Dreadnoughts that came the closest to playoff berth. They won 10 games, but unfortunately, they and rookie QB Russell Bowman are on the outside looking in. Along with the other AFC team above 500, the Orlando Orbits, they improved on last year's collapse, but it's a deep conference, and so they're out. Then in the NFC, the Huskies, Shamrocks, and Wizards claim the final 3 wildcard spots. They all finished with a record of 9-8, so that means the Black Knights at 8-1, that early tie coming back to haunt them, and the Elks, a 3 seed in the playoffs last season, don't make the cut. And then there is the bottom of the WAFL with 6 teams at 5-12, including last year's Super Bowl runner-up Toronto Thunderbirds. What a fall from the 2nd seed in the NFC last season. Now let's check in on the teams that finished with the #1 and #2 draft picks from the offseason. The Lumberjacks and the Pioneers went from complete dumpster fires to slightly below average teams in just 1 year, which is a nice thing to see them trending upwards. In another year or two, I'd like to think they'd make the playoffs. And speaking of the playoffs, we have some new teams appearing for the first time. The Oakland Redwoods, who turned things around in a big way from last season to become 14-3 under QB Geno Smith, the big free agent acquisition for them. The Steamers at 11-6 made it in with Joe Burrow at QB, Nick Chubb at running back. It was a little bit of a surprise to see they didn't make the playoffs in season 1 with basically the same team. And then the Dragons at 10-6 were also a bit of a surprise. They overthrew the Shamrocks, who dominated last season. And finally the Wizards, who finished 9-8 with some big players on offense like Tyreek Hill and George Kittle. So with that said, let's get to the games. We start in the wild card round with the Caps versus Condors. They played a season ago in the divisional round where the Caps upset the #1 Condors on the road, but things are different now. Let's compare both teams. The Caps had the better points per game on offense and ranked 2nd in the entire league in total offense, while the Condors are 17th. But things are real close on defense. The Condors are 6th overall, and the Caps are 7th. But these games aren't played on paper. Let's jump into the game and find out if the Caps have another run in them or if the Condors will get their revenge. So here we go. The wild card begins in Columbus, Ohio. The Condors with the ball in the first quarter, and running back Spencer Bradley, the first-round pick, going into the end zone. 7-0 Condors. Caps ball, Mahomes rolling right, throwing into the flat, intercepted. The Condors defense flocking to the ball. Cam Sutton is going to return this one to the house. Mahomes can't catch him. 14-0 early in the first, but Mahomes slings it down the middle of the field, and Chris Olave can't be touched. The Caps strike right back. 14-7, second quarter now. Brian Robinson going outside and running around this entire Condors defense. We're tied at 14 apiece. Second quarter, Mark Andrews gets popped in the middle of the field. Ball comes loose, and the Caps recover. Now later in the second, Mahomes, he is hit. Ball comes loose. The Condors take it right back. 2 minutes to go before the half. They'll get a field goal out of it. And then here's Bradley coming right back, bounces this one outside and takes this one down all the way inside the 5. Then 3rd and goal, fullback dive, and the Condors eventually punch it in and take this lead. Eric Rush, 10-point lead, minute in the 3rd. Mahomes play action, man in his face, throws this one up, but there's a flag on the field, incomplete, but they say pass interference. Now from the 1, Robinson diving in, Caps cutting this lead down to 3 in the 4th. 3rd and goal, Mahomes looking to take the lead, throws it away, settling for the field goal. It's good, 24-24, under 3 minutes to go. And here Fields rolling to his left, nice toss, nice sliding catch by KJ Osborne. And the Condors had the 7-point lead. Nice catch over the middle. Evan Ingram coughs the ball up. The Condors recover. Evan Ingram can't believe it. But 4th and 1 at the other end. The Condors go for it instead of making the field goal and putting them up 10. So the other end, only 30 seconds to go. Mahomes complete to Chris Olave, but he can't get out of bounds. Clock running under 10 seconds. Mahomes throws it out back to the end zone. Marquez Valdez-Scantling with the clutch catch 2 feet in. We're headed to overtime, 31-31 in OT. Mahomes throwing up top, but Olave falls at the goal line. Now read option. Mahomes calls his own number, and he's got it. Touchdown. Caps up 38-31, but the other end, Justin Fields, he's going to run this one in too, but he is stopped at the goal line. 3rd and goal from the 4 now. Fields stepping up, finds his receiver at the last second, and the Condors tie this one. McCole Hardman with the catch. 38-38 Caps. Big completion over the middle. Chris Godwin puts them in field goal range. 4th and 7 from the 30, and that's good. McDermott beats Reed again in the playoffs. 41-38 final score. What a first game to start this playoffs. Mahomes, 468 yards, and half of it going to Chris Olave with 240 and a touchdown. And the 2-seeded Caps are moving on. Now let's move to our next matchup, the Wizards and the Desperados. Both teams in the top 10 in points per game, but if you look at the overall offensive numbers, not the best. Desperados especially in the lower half of the league, and then defensively about the same, 19th for the Wizards, 17th for the Desperados, and they played before week 7. It was a loss for the Wizards, but they came back and beat the Desperados in the last week of the regular season. So here we go. This one could go either way. It's time for the Wizards and Desperados round number 3. Wizards in the first quarter under all sorts of pressure. Lucas Van Ness getting to the quarterback twice in a row. Brock Purdy nowhere to throw. He is sacked 3 straight times. No score in the first. Desperados will get a field goal to start off this game, and the Wizards finally break through in the second quarter. Christian Watson with the touchdown catch. Later in the second, Trey Lance trying to throw this ball. He is hit and flung behind him for a safety. What in the world happened? Wizards get the ball right back, and George Kittle makes the Desperados pay. But here the Desperados fire right back, make it a 3-point game with the Deebo Samuel catch. Fourth quarter, Wizards and Tyreek Hill front corner pylon. They extend their lead. Now 7-point game, 2 minutes to go in the fourth, and Lance is sacked. Crucial 4th down coming up. Game on the line. And here Lance delivers a strike down the sideline. The Desperados now 3rd and 2, under a minute, and they score. DJ Chark ties this game up under 30 seconds. The Wizards with a little bit of time to make some magic happen. Brock Purdy showing off the cannon. Tyreek Hill can't come down with it. So here is the long field goal attempt from the logo. No good. It's overtime. And here the Desperados converting on 3rd and 7. Trey Lance using the legs. 3rd and 13 now. And Lance firing, broken up, hit the receiver in the hands. So they're relying on the field goal kicker. 26-23 Wizards with a chance to tie or win this one. 3rd and 8. Look at the tough running, never giving up, but knee down, 1 yard short. They play it safe and tie this one at 26. And so the Desperados now passing. Deebo Samuel moving the chains, stepping out of bounds. 3rd and 5. Travis Etienne sheds a man off him and runs this one down to the 7-yard line for the chip-in and the win. Desperados, playoff Trey Lance strikes again. They're going to advance to the divisional round. Both quarterbacks airing it out over 300 yards. Great offensive performance by both teams, but unfortunately the Wizards are going home. Now let's move to our next matchup, the 3-6 in the AFC. Bisons versus Snowhawks. Snowhawks the better points per game, and offensively they're 9th versus the Bisons 30th. But on defense, the Bisons have the advantage, number 3 in the league. Snowhawks, though, number 8. They've played before. Week number 2, it was a shutout, and the Snowhawks lost to the Bisons. Will they get their revenge? We'll see. Daniel Jones, read option in the second. No score in the first, and he's got the speed to get down to the 2-yard line. First and goal. Handoff up the gut. Dalvin Cook takes it in. Bison's early lead. Next possession, Snowhawks. Trevor Lawrence moving to his left, finding the open wideout. And here, Van Jefferson is gone up the sideline. Nobody's going to catch him. 3 Bisons in pursuit. 7-7, 1 minute to go before the half. And Trevor Lawrence throws a Bison in his face, causes the interception. Jordan Poyer takes it away. First and goal now for Daniel Jones. On the move, a sliding catch by Paris Campbell to stay inbounds, 14-7. Now 30 seconds before the half. Jones trying to make something happen. He is stripped, and Quinnen Williams, he's going to scoop and score and tie this thing up at the half. Then in the third, 17-14, Daniel Jones throws off the mark. They have to settle for the field goal, making it a 6-point game. Trevor Lawrence on 3rd and 10, 3 minutes to go. And he goes down the sideline to Jackson Smith and Jigba. 1st and 10 from the 20. David Montgomery, stutter step and go. Picks up 2 crucial blocks. And the Snowhawks score, taking the 1-point lead. And now 40 seconds to go. The Bisons comeback stalled. Daniel Jones picked. Trevon Diggs ends this one on a walk-off pick 6. And the Snowhawks, they're advancing to the divisional round. Final score, 28-20. Robert Saleh loves that. Steichen going home. They had the lead. It was a fight between 2 top 10 defenses, and it was the Snowhawks who came out on top. Now let's go compare our next 2 teams. The Huskies, more green than red on their side. Higher points per game, higher total offense. They're number 4th in the entire league. Mounties are 25 on offense and defense. Huskies 2nd on defense. But then how is it that they lost to the Mounties once in week 8 and then again in week number 15? The Huskies, will they finally break through? Let's jump into the game. Huskies, Mounties, home game for the Mounties, and Derek Carr firing, intercepted. There's that number 2 defense going to work. Stephon Gilmore steps in front of this pass intended for Gabe Davis. Now 3rd and 10. Justin Herbert steady in the pocket, fires a laser down the middle, and Puka Nacua, big free agent pickup with the touchdown. Ensuing kickoff, it's Kene Nwangu back to return, and he doesn't even have to put a move on a defender. Great blocking for the Mounties special teams. Nwangu scores, no problem. Tied up later in the second. 3-point lead for the Mounties. Rush affecting the throw across his body. Big mistake for Justin Herbert. Micah Hyde comes away with his second pick by this point. But the Mounties offense off the turnover can only settle for 3. Later in the second, 16-7, Huskies throwing their way back into this game. Great sideline grab. 20 seconds left in the half. The quick dump off to Elijah Moore gets things close. 2-point game in the third. Here's Kareem Hunt breaking off a run down the left sideline. Now 1st and goal, read option. Derek Carr is going to pull this one down, and he reaches over the goal line. Mounties increase their lead, 23-17. Huskies still in it, but the defense breaking down. Kareem Hunt running all over them. Down to the 22, now 3rd and 4 from the 16. The Huskies come up clutch, 4th and 1. This could be the game. They're running out of timeouts. They can't stop the Mounties. They'll chip in a field goal to make it 26-17 final score. Mounties 3-0 this season against the Huskies. Now we move to the Steamers and the Antlers. Steamers number 4th overall in points per game, but Antlers number 2 overall in points allowed. Number 1 offensive for the Steamers, both in the top 10. Antlers top 10 offense and defense. Steamers, though, dead last in total defense. But when they played earlier in the season, the Antlers won 28-21 in week 11. So how will it play out now in the wild card round in snowy Omaha? The Steamers with the ball first, and Joe Burrow is intercepted. This one's run back past the 50. Antlers Going to go all the way down and score. Josh Allen looking for contact there. Head wide open running lane. 7-0. Allen now 3rd and 8, going over the middle, intercepted. Steamers take this one back. Jabril Peppers sets up the toss to Nick Chubb. Stiff arm and in. And this game is tied 7-7. Second quarter now. Allen, he's picked off over the middle. Patrick Queen takes it away. And so the Steamers driving. Second and goal. Chubb going up and over the Antlers defense. 14-7. 3 minutes to go in the second. Allen doesn't like what he sees. Tucks it and runs. Stopped at the 15. Out comes the kicker. And we got a 4-point game with under 2 minutes to go in the half. Burrow throwing. Can't get a pass completed over the middle. Intercepted again. This time 2 broken tackles. And the Antlers are going back to the house. Touchdown. Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. 20-14 in the fourth. And Burrow is thrown to the turf. Bradley Chubb, big game for the Chubbs. And here, 4th and goal, makes it a 3-point game with the made field goal. And then Josh Jacobs breaks every tackle imaginable, goes in and out and around and through this defense for the touchdown. What a run, 27-17. Still a chance with 3 minutes to go, but Burrow, another interception, just a back-breaking pick here at the end of the game. 3rd and goal, Antlers go back to Josh Jacobs, and he ends this one 34-17. A wild game. Interceptions flying around left and right in the snow. And it's the Antlers who move on to round 2. And so now we end the wild card round with the Shamrocks and the Dragons, divisional foes, both good on offense. But Shamrocks more of the passing team. Dragons, they like to run the ball, 3rd in rushing. But defense may be the biggest factor. The Dragons are 11th, while the Shamrocks are 24th. But it didn't stop them from winning week 11, 24-22, and then week 13, 28-21. So how will it go now? Can the Dragons finally break through and upset the Shamrocks? Well, in the first, Kyler Murray takes a huge hit. The ball is loose. Jerome Baker, linebacker for the Shamrocks, scoops and scores. Shams up 7-0. CJ Stroud, clean pocket, nice ball over the middle. A diving safety nearly took that one away, but DJ Moore scampers ahead. Shamrocks up 14-3, second quarter. Stroud buying time, throwing, going back to DJ Moore, splitting 2 defenders. And this one looking like a blowout, 21-3, but the Dragons driving down to the 1. Kyler Murray hands it off. Jahmyr Gibbs plows ahead, 21-10. Now Dragons with the ball back, under 2 minutes to go in the half, and Kyler Murray's bombing it deep. This one's caught. Marquise Brown going Hollywood to the end zone. Now we've got a game, 21-17 into the fourth. 4-point game. TJ Hawkinson going down low and grabbing this ball. Dragons take the lead. And then on 3rd and 8, the pocket collapsing. Micah Parsons gets to Stroud. 2 minutes to go in the game. Shamrocks starting to burn those timeouts. Dragons with the first down run. Then Gibbs plowing ahead, 2nd and 4. Another first down run. Clock ticking down to the last second. And so Riverboat Ron finally gets to Mike McCarthy, sending the Shamrocks home. Dragons now, they're going to the divisional round. And so it's official, the divisional round is here, and here's a look at the bracket. Only the Snowhawks as the 6th seed. They pulled the only upset after getting upset a year ago as the 2, so little revenge there for them. And here, players of the week, Purdy, Garrett, Fields, Williams, all great games. And now we're down to just 8 teams as we go into game number 1. The Snowhawks and the number 1 seeded Redwoods, who are number 2 in offensive points per game, 5th on offense, both teams top 5, but the Redwoods top 5 in offense and defensive ranks. They're going to be tough to knock off, but let's see if the Snowhawks can do it. Going into Oakland, and here Geno Smith play action to start this one. He's got a wide open target. Michael Thomas with the touchdown later in the second. 10-0. Trevor Lawrence taking a shot downfield for the end zone. Incomplete. Snowhawks will get their first points with the field goal in the second quarter. Now under 30 seconds in the half. Trevor Lawrence trying to get some points up before the half. Intercepted. And so they'll come away with nothing. Still 10-3 into the third. Geno Smith firing for the goal line. Incomplete. Here the Redwoods will kick a field goal. Now to the start of the fourth. Snowhawks down 13. And here Jackson Smith and Jigba fumbles this one in the red zone. Redwoods recover. and that is a major turnover because the Redwoods throwing Gino, pass complete. Michael Thomas with the hands, setting up yet another field goal, just being field goal to death over here, 19-3. Snowhawks not giving up, under 2 minutes, all 3 timeouts. Big pass to Sterling Shepard, but now with 30 seconds left, the Snowhawks running out of time and running out of bounds at the 3, 4th and goal. They're going to need a touchdown onside kick, and they don't complete the pass. Incomplete. The Redwoods defense steps up in a big way, shuts the Snowhawks down to just 3 points. 19-3 is the final. Geno Smith wins a playoff game for the Redwoods. And now we move to the Antlers and the Caps. Both teams evenly matched, pretty close. Antlers and Caps both top 10 in offensive yardage. And then on defense, 10th for the Antlers, 7th for the Caps. This one might go down to the wire. And we start in the first. Patrick Mahomes with the ball around midfield, slings it out to his left in the back. Samaje Perine is going to run this one down inside the 10-yard line. And then 3rd and goal, it's Mahomes to Chris Godwin, wide open, middle of the end zone. Next drive, 4th and goal. They go for it here, but the Antlers defense steps up. They sack Mahomes. Now into the second quarter, same score, blown coverage. Godwin torching this defense down inside the 5. Then Brian Robinson plunges in for the score. Caps up 14-0. 30 seconds to go in the half. Mahomes, an errant throw and rightly intercepted. That was a wild one. So Antlers stop another score from happening. Second half, Antlers starting to build their comeback. Josh Allen lasers one down to the tight end, Jeff Keller, rookie standout tight end. And then next possession, they're going to tie this one up. A leaping Keller in the snow, 14-14. 4th quarter now, same score. Oh, blown coverage leaves Chris Olave wide open for the easy score. 30 seconds to go. Antlers drive down and tie this one up. But wait, after the Michael Gallup touchdown, they're going for 2 and the win. Josh Allen rolls to his right, but he's caught from behind. Jack Sanborn saves the game, but it's not over yet. They have all 3 timeouts. 3rd and 3. The Antlers stuff the run, and so Allen's going to have 8 seconds left. First pass thrown away. 3rd and 10. Clock ticking down. Allen's trying to pull something out here at the last second, but it's knocked away. The Antlers and John Harbaugh go down in flames. The Caps win this game by 1. Last week's game by 3. They're barely getting by, but a win's a win. Mahomes, 300 yards. He's moving on to the AFC Championship game for the 2nd straight season. Now to the first of our NFC matchups. As we've seen before, the Mounties, not the highest rated of teams. Desperados, 3rd in points per game. Offensively, they're similar, 25th and 24th. Defense, slight edge to the Desperados, but they get a lot more sacks and takeaways. So let's see how that plays out. Desperados, home field advantage in this one. Down 3 early, and Trey Lance intercepted. Marcus May takes it away. 3rd and 6. Derek Carr gives it right back. So the Desperados going to take over with excellent field position. 2nd and 11. Trey Lance, little play action, hanging on too long, and he is sacked. There's Marcus May again. Mayday all over the place. 4th and 18. The kick is good. We're tied at 3 in the second. Then later, Trey Lance using the legs. Big part of his playoff push last season was scrambling around, making plays, and here dumping it off to the back. Touchdown Desperados. Ricky Seals-Jones at tight end, 13-6. Kareem Hunt, he always goes off once a game, hurdling over people, stepping on them. 2nd and 7, 3 minutes to go into the 4th. The Mounties strike right back. There's Gabe Davis with another touchdown, had one last week. And now Travis Etienne just shrugging off a defender in the backfield, turning nothing into a huge gain. Desperados driving, time ticking down, a minute to go. And this one down just a yard short, so they take the 3-point lead late. Mounties with one last chance. Derek Carr winding up, but this ball goes nowhere. And Todd Bowles and the Desperados do it again. Back-to-back NFC championships. Final score 16-13. Defensive battle. And now our final game of the divisional round. The Monarchs versus the Dragons. Both top 5 in points per game. Monarchs 3rd in offense. Dragons 12th. But number 1 on defense. We'll see how that goes. Touchdowns allowed, number 1. Sacks, number 1. We'll see if they can get after the quarterback. 2 scramblers, not getting anything done in the first, 0-0. So in the second, Lamar Jackson to Keenan Allen for the first score of the game. 7-0 Monarchs, but the Dragons ended the first half. It's Kyler Murray scooting around this defense for a rushing touchdown, tied up at 7. Third quarter now we go, still tied, and Jackson, he finds Jarvis Landry near the sideline. Big game out of him, week 18. Now here's Lamar escaping the pocket, using his agility to get around the lineman, using the block, and touchdown. Monarchs up 7. Fourth quarter now, Jackson stepping up in the pocket, but he's stripped from behind. Javon Holland strips him, and Shaq Leonard is going to fall on this. Dragons ball. And now, 5 minutes to go in the fourth. Kyler Murray fires one between 2 defenders, and Marquise Brown accelerating past the defense in a big way. We're tied up. 4 minutes now to go in the game. Jackson tossing this one up. Wanted Dalton Kincaid, but he's intercepted. Another turnover. Denzel Ward coming through for the Dragons. Then on the other end, Kyler Murray just outrunning the entire Monarchs defense. Touchdown Dragons. They take the lead on the undefeated Monarchs, but Jackson 3rd and 3. Oh, he misfires. 4th and 3. A minute 30 left to go in the game. Jackson converts on 4th down. Jamison Williams comes through with the sideline grab. Now 1st and 10. Next play. Jackson's intercepted. Javon Holland comes through again. He stripped Jackson earlier. This time he takes it away through the air, but 3rd and 11. Kyler Murray takes a bad sack. The Monarchs use all their timeouts. 30 seconds for some miracle. And Jackson finds his receiver over the middle. Time is running down. No timeouts. 1st and 10. Jackson steady in the pocket. Pass complete. Jarvis Landry can't get out of bounds. And the time runs out on the Monarchs. And their undefeated season comes crashing down in the divisional round. 21-14. The Dragons come into town and overthrow the Monarchy. Unbelievable. And so now let's recap the Redwoods, the Caps, Dragons, and Desperados all advancing to their conference championship games. And Desperados now gifted a home game in their championship side of things. But we start with the AFC. Caps going on the road for the first time this playoffs. But 4th and 2, Derrick Henry stuffed. Ball comes loose. Caps turn right around, turn it into 3 points. In the second quarter, Brian Robinson, easy gain, falls over in the end zone for a touchdown. 10-zip, but Geno Smith fires right back in a crowd. Jimmy Pitts hangs on. 3-point game. Third quarter now. Mahomes throwing out to his left, breaking multiple tackles. Godwin just bouncing off defenders. Down inside the red zone. 4th and 1. Caps, they're going, and they run out of room. Turnover on downs. Campbell with the defense. 3rd and 5 now. Last play of the quarter. Geno Smith throwing it away. And here, the actual last play is a fake kick. The trickery doesn't fool the Caps. So in the 4th, Caps still up 3. Mahomes. Completion underneath, but this ball comes loose. And now the Redwoods take over. But after review, the refs say, wait a minute, knee down, 2nd and 6. About 5 minutes left to go in this game, and Mahomes, man in his face, delivers a strike to Chris Olave. 17-7. Redwoods trying to hang around. 3rd and 19, make it 4th and 30 after the sack. And Geno Smith standing tall, firing it deep and incomplete. Would have been a tough grab, with the Caps defense stepping up. Now 3rd and 5 for Mahomes, rubbing salt in the wound. Brian Robinson catching a touchdown this time. And then, with just a few seconds to go, Geno Smith just trying to get anything going, draws the flag. And so we get a little garbage time touchdown. Smith, back of the end zone. Devontae Adams takes a huge hit but hangs on. Josh McDaniels gets his bonus touchdown, but the result is the same. Caps win in control the whole game, 28-14. And so the AFC is set. Who will join the Caps in the Super Bowl, aka the WAFL Bowl? Will it be Kyler Murray diving headfirst into the end zone, giving Dragons the early lead, 7-0 into the second? Murray in the pocket, firing to his right, wide open spaces for the back. Jahmyr Gibbs, 14-0, 40 seconds to go in the half. This one knocked down, so the Dragons, they're going to kick. Wait, another trick. AFC Championship game, they're pulling out all the stops. but Todd Bowles sniffed it out, incomplete, 14-3, end of the third. And this one, a jump ball, a prayer by Trey Lance. Nice grab, Deebo Samuel. We turn around for the fourth, and now Lance looking to do it himself on the ground, breaks that initial tackle, and he's in. 2-point conversion. Travis Etienne breaks one tackle, steady on his feet, spins around, and tough running by Etienne gets him the 2, and now it's just a 3-point game, 3rd and 9 for Kyler Murray. Wide open, tight end Hawkinson, he's drilled, and the ball is loose. Desperado defense scoops it up, and so now on 3rd and 12 for Trey Lance, they're trying to get the screen game going, and Etienne is not going to get the first, but he is going to get in field goal range. And the Desperados tie this thing up at 14, under 2 minutes to go, 3rd and 5. Another stop by the Dragons, keeping this game close, but the Desperados with another kick up 3. Now Murray feeling the pressure, 4th and 16, a crucial moment in this game, and he delivers in the clutch to Marquise Brown, and putting the speed on display, breaks and busts his way down inside the 20 to the 22, and here the kick ties things up. Dragons save this game into overtime, and they win the toss actually, but Kyler Murray sacked, give it to the Desperados. Trey Lance moving around in the pocket, throwing left, finds an open receiver, and then very next play, Lance play action, throwing to a wide open Deebo Samuel, just can't be guarded. The Desperados win 23-17. Todd Bowles and company, they're going to the Super Bowl to play Patrick Mahomes in the Columbus Caps. So here's what it looks like. Both 2 seeds prevail and will meet for the Super Bowl this year. Waffle Bowl number 2, the Caps made it back-to-back years. Desperados finally broke through from NFC Championship last season to the big game. So here we go. Who's going to win? Caps, Desperados, Waffle Bowl champions of Season 2. And here, rough start for the Caps. Patrick Mahomes is intercepted in the first quarter. Desperados taking the ball over, and Trey Lance firing it down the middle. Deebo Samuel continuing his streak of amazing receiver play. And now Lance play action, running into the rush. Cam Jordan sacks himself, trips over the body of Trey Lance. And then in the second quarter, Patrick Mahomes in the red zone, intercepted a second time. Desperados going to kneel this one down. L'Jarius Sneed, great coverage. 3rd and 4, still tied at 0. And look at this grab. Trey McBride sacrificing his body, getting popped up in the air, going to the bench. And now Trey Lance incomplete on 3rd and 5. Here comes the kicker. And on 4th and 5, it's good. 3-0 Desperados lead, and we're almost to halftime. And now Patrick Mahomes putting some nice touch on this ball. MVS with the hands, under 30 seconds to go. Mahomes wide open, no one's guarding the back out of the backfield. Ryan 7-3 second half, and here Mahomes unleashing a bomb downfield, and it's Chris Olave downfield with the nice over-the-shoulder grab. 1st and goal to 3rd and goal. Mahomes sidearms this one back of the end zone. Refs are going to take a look. They say Valdez-Scantling keeps his feet in. 14-3 into the 4th. Desperados in trouble. Trey Lance thrown to the turf. 3rd and 23. Lance back to pass, fires this one deep. Deebo Samuel, who else, comes through in the clutch. 1st and goal, handoff up the middle. Michael Carter sneaks into the end zone. Now they need the 2-point conversion. Lance gets it out quick, and it's good. Deebo Samuel there when you need him. 3-point game. 3rd and 3. Desperados need a stop. Mahomes' field of vision kind of blocked by his own lineman, and they come up and make the play. Desperados hold the Caps to a field goal. 17-11. Desperados still in this one. 3rd and 12. Another big 3rd down, and they deliver. Deebo Samuel with the huge hit, but he holds on. 2 minutes to go. Trey Lance throwing across his body, pulling a Mahomes-type move. And here the Desperados knocking on the door. 3rd and 4, incomplete. Can't get the screen. So 4th down to keep their hopes alive. And Trey McBride comes back off the bench. And then the Desperados with the biggest extra point of the year take the lead. So the Caps down 1 with under a minute and 1 timeout. Mahomes completes this one over the middle, past the 50. 20 seconds remain. Mahomes, he's got Evan Ingram, and he makes the only defender miss, and he's gone to the end zone. What an amazing drive by this Caps offense under a minute. Mahomes magic again, 2-point conversion back to Ingram, 7-point game. But the Desperados, they have 3 timeouts, 13 seconds. Lance pass complete near the 40, 1st and 10, under 10 seconds to go. Buying time in the pocket. Michael Carter turning on a dime, making 2 defenders whiff and giving Lance a chance at a Hail Mary attempt. The pass is up. Is it long enough? Not quite. Batted to the ground. There is a flag, but it's not pass interference. It's a hold. And so the Caps hold on. 25-18 is the final. Hail Mary attempts in Season 1 and Season 2 both fail in the end, whether it was Tannehill or Trey Lance. No one can get by the Caps, it seems. And there was the game-winning play. Mahomes to Ingram. What a year of waffle football. Mahomes 343, 3 touchdowns. Trey Lance 264 through the air. And there's your final bracket for season number 2 in the waffle. But we're not done. We still have to sim ahead 10 years and see what the rest of the decade looks like in the waffle. And here, Caps won Super Bowl 1 and 2, but the Lumberjacks come out of nowhere and win Waffle 3. Oh, but the Caps, 3 and 4 years, that's a dynasty. Waffle Bowl 4 goes to them. There's the Monarchs, avenging that what could have been undefeated season over the Antlers. Antlers, after the loss, no Super Bowl hangover. They beat the Bulls. Elks get a chance at a Super Bowl versus the Steamers. Anthony Richardson versus Joe Burrow, perhaps. And here the Thunderbirds coming back after a long hiatus from Season 1 Super Bowl rematch. And there the Thunderbirds finally get through. No Tannehill, I'm sure, on that team. And Caps racking up their 4th, or is that their 5th Super Bowl win? Unbelievable. Monarchs come back for their 2nd. The Dreadnoughts lose by 3. But here we end in the year 2034 after another season of waffle football. And we have come down to the Nighthawks and the Aviators this season. 2 teams that have not tread this kind of ground before. And a look at the Nighthawks, they're led by their back, Leach, and Bryce Young still kicking around, only 33. And so the Nighthawks are looking good. 43 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Oof, this is the year of Bryce Young. In the back, nearly 1,500 yards. Great season by him. On the other side, Aviators, no Jordan Love. This is Niles Parsons' team. He's 98 overall. And Kendrick's the back, 1,311 touchdowns. Not a great average, but he's putting up the points. And there's Jamar Chase, 13 years pro, still the leading receiver and a good defense. This Chris Grove at end, 14 sacks. But now let's put these teams to the test. Aviators versus Nighthawks, Waffle Bowl. And here the Aviators start off with a little familiar face, Jamar Chase, catching going down to the 3-yard line. And then handoff up the middle. Easy touchdown for Tayshawn Kendricks. 7-0 Aviators. Bryce Young putting some touch on this ball, and the receiver reaching out for the pylon. Arthur Tate, 83. We're tied at 7 in the second. And here Bryce Young, using his legs, burns by the linebacker and slides down at the 8. 3rd and goal. Young, antsy in the pocket off his back foot, but gets this pass through the defense back to Arthur Tate. 2nd touchdown for Tate. And now the Nighthawks defense doing work, intercepting the 98 overall quarterback for the Aviators, Niles Parsons. And they're taking this one to the house. Already up 27. Carlos Swain with the play of the Waffle Bowl. And then there's Bryce Young, 2-point conversion to even things out, 28-7. Under a minute left to go. The Aviators, of course, still got to fight, but too little, too late. This one belongs to the Buenos Aires Nighthawks. Bryce Young finishing with 2 touchdowns through the air. They had a good ground game. And, of course, the MVP, Carlos Swain, with that sweet pick 6. This was a team that was only 85 overall, 2nd in points per game, but they absolutely crushed the division NFC South and easily handled those Albuquerque Aviators in the Waffle Bowl. And so that'll wrap things up for now. It's been a crazy few seasons of the Waffle. So many twists and turns and upsets. But now it's time to retire Madden 24. And let's see what 25 has in store for us. Some college football 25 videos coming soon as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.